So here we go, the deep dive on FME Server and FME Cloud. And I'm here this morning with Aaron Koning, who's the product manager slash leader slash he is always watching the new features and works very closely with me to identify what needs to go in. A great advocate for customers. And does the survey, does many things. So feeling a little under the weather, but thanks for joining me this morning, Aaron.
Wouldn't miss it.
Yeah, no, it's exciting for sure. So so the first thing on FME is it is really shaped by our users, and so I'm going to let Aaron talk to these next couple of slides here.
Sure. Yeah, this is some summary of what we've done in the whole FME product, both desktop and server and engine. You can see there's a lot going on, but the bottom one is the one, as Don says, I always like to point out, is that over 1,000 customer requests effectively have been dealt with for this release. So that is a really, really key part of what we do at SAFE, is taking customer feedback and making the product better.
Yeah. So how exactly can users give us ideas of what they want and things like this? What's this slide showing, Aaron?
Yeah, this is the Ideas Exchange, which is new. We rolled this out late last year, and anybody can go and add an idea, a suggestion, a request, and we've seen some already that have actually been started and some that have been completed. So it's an even more before, what we would have to do is have people send us an email and then we would track the idea. Now they can sign up and put an idea in all by themselves. People and everybody else can vote on the idea. You can see the geometry validators got 14 votes, so there's something important there.
Yeah, and so you just sign up at knowledge.safe.com, and then you can give your own ideas, vote on other people's ideas. Also, great place for asking questions to the community. And we're really proud of how this community has taken off, and really appreciate the great effort and how it's been embraced by our users. So we really appreciate that, and it's just great to see all the amazing answers and that have been given to users. So it's you can see there's a leaderboard there, so you can see who's really taking part, and it's sort of a gamification as well. You can earn badges and all that good stuff. So yeah. So now we're going to dive into some of the big things about FME 2016. And here we have a Kitten. Of course, we all know that a slide deck without a Kitten is doomed to failure. So by having a Kitten, he doesn't look like a very friendly Kitten. I'm not sure if I saw that in a friend's house, I would want to actually go anywhere near it. But anyway, so he's this Kitten. I like fresh looks like I like fresh milk, and I'm all out of milk. So so the problem was, obviously, this guy likes he likes a nice fresh look for things, and so with FME Server we have a new spiffy new look. So there you can see our eagle with his FME badge on his lapel, I guess. And so Aaron's going to show us this new look in a minute. So the first thing do you want to walk through this slide, Aaron, and just talk a bit about this one, then we'll get to your demo?
Sure. This is the home page that you'll come to. In the past, we had those 3 sort of green buttons there, which were common actions, and now we've added some things that will help you accomplish most common tasks faster. So favorites, last published, last run, and I'm going to run through some demos on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so here's the. I just threw this in here. You can see the pages here correspond to those 3 actions up there. And one of the things we got feedback from users on was that creating a schedule was less common than managing a schedule. So we switched that button to go and manage schedules, which is just a small thing, but important.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so this really speaks to again, the problem of running a workspace over and over again. You'd have to go and you'd have to select the repository, you'd have to select the workspace, on and on. You'd have to do a bunch of clicks to get at the workspace you want to run, and also if you wanted to quickly run a workspace you published or see the output or the result of a job, all of that was many clicks away. So
yeah.
What do we do here? There.
Okay. So now with that, we've added these two things. So and I guess you're going to show these things,
Yep.
favorite workspaces, and how this all works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So we'll go straight to the demo then.
This is a good one. So here's a workspace that I'm going to publish up there. So let's do this file, publish to FME Server, and up to Blue Sky. And this is obviously one of the most common things people do with FME Server, publishing a workspace. So I'll step through this. And I'm going to put it in there. That's fine. I've got one up there already, but I'll put that up there as well. Okay, job submitter sounds good. Okay, so now, in the past, what I would have to do is go and find that workspace effectively, but you're going to see how much easier it is now. And I'm going to log out to give you the full experience.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to log in here. And so in the past, you had to then go dig around and find that workspace. But guess what? There it is. Published
a few seconds ago. That's great.
Yeah, so I can go in there, and I can go ahead and run that workspace. Now, if I like this workspace, and I know I'm going to run it all the time, you might notice this little star here.
Yes.
So I can click that star, and that will save it in my favorites. So let's go back to the home page. Whoops. Back to the home page right there, or you can click home there. And you can see now it's there. It's awesome workspace.fmw. Now, if I decided I didn't actually want that to be my favorite, then I can just click that there.
Okay. So how would you run it? Now this is a favorite. How would you run it?
As a favorite, you just click it.
Okay, and you're right there.
Yeah, and I can refavorite it here.
Yeah.
Run it. Yep. And let's say it takes a long time to run. This one doesn't, but let's assume it did. I might close my browser and come home later on, or go home and then come back and open it up.
Yep.
I can see the result of that workspace right here.
Ah.
Yeah, so I can come in here and then I can go through and look at I think the number of features output is right here, and so I can easily get to the results there.
Wow. Wow. That's fantastic.
Yep, there you go. And it's all.
Yeah, that's so much easier. Way less mouse clicks. And of course, when you're in the development phase, you're often publishing, running. So now you don't have to constantly navigate down to the workspace that you just published. So that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
There we go. Okay, so we'll jump back into the slides here.
So thanks, Aaron. That's great. So that's a huge improvement over the FME Server 2015. Now, very few mouse clicks. So one of the things that we looked at, so now we're going to talk about something completely different, and this is when you're installing FME Server. How do you get going right out of the gate? So initially, we have FME Server for download, and you would download it. Then you would have to set up FlexLM. Internally at SAFE, we had automated processes to do this, so we didn't have to do it. So just for kicks, as we were, once we were working on the new licensing, I said to Hugh, the lead FME Server team leader, I said, you haven't installed FME for a while, the manual way using FlexLM. So this morning I would like you to do that. So needless to say, it took him over an hour. By the time you get FlexLM, then he had to, send an email and get a license key and install it and all that. And he came back and he said, I really, he was always supportive of this new licensing. So they said, I really get this. So something that we needed to change. So that's what we've done here. In FME in general for 2016, one of the things we really worked on was the first 15 minutes or 5 minutes of FME. And on the server side, definitely you would spend, even if you knew exactly what you were doing, you were going to spend at least 15 minutes just getting it licensed. Okay, so that is a problem. People want to evaluate stuff, so we looked at it and said, how do we make this better? So I'm going to demo this here, and essentially what we did is we got rid of our third-party licensing, and we made it a really easy type of completely integrated licensing all through the web console. So so that's what we're going to do this morning, and so I'm going to go to my demo here now.
So you're going to run through how it is to license, and I haven't seen this in a while, so
Yeah.
I would assume it's going to take minutes to do this, maybe minutes rather than 15 minutes, but let's see what you come up with.
Whoops. Hopefully you can see my screen here. Okay, got a nice little Windows box and a window there. Okay, and I've installed FME Server on this guy. Okay, and I'm just going to go to my server machine. There we go. It's just a local, so you can imagine I'm an evaluator, and I've just licensed it, and I'm ready to go. I apologize for the slow. This virtual machine on this Mac is feeling it, as you can tell how slowly it even types. Okay, and so anyway, I'm going to log in using everybody's favorite admin password when you're developing, and immediately once I log in, this server, well, I'm going to say never to that. This server recognizes that it has never been licensed, and it immediately says, would you like to activate FME Server? So I'm going to say yes to that, and it's unlicensed. I'm simply going to request a license, and always go for auto mode. As long as your computer can get out to the internet, you're fine. You do not physically have to be visible from the internet. This machine is not. So I'm just going to simply enter an email address here. And it gives you a machine key. That field is not editable. The serial number, if you have a permanent license, you would simply enter your serial number there. And so now I'm going to say OK. OK. And now the engine process has begun. The license has been requested. It's fetching the license, submitted the license request. And in a couple seconds here, we should be good to go. And there you are. We have an evaluation license for until February 9th, so it gave us 7 days right out of the gate. So now if I go to my my email that I entered, there should be an email there. There it is. And in this email, it tells me that if I click on this link, I get a 60-day license. So if I had entered an invalid email, that email would have been sent to an improper email account that I don't have access to, so I wouldn't have been able to get my 60-day license. If I want my 60-day license, I simply click there, get my 60-day license, and now the email is validated, and it knows that, hey, this is really somebody we know about, we can reach them. And so now it says simply go back to your FME server and click the refresh button page. Okay, so I'm going to go back there. I simply click refresh license. And so now you're going to see that I have a license till sometime in April. So you can see Max Engines, machine key, expires Saturday, April 2nd. And so there you go. In under 10 seconds, basically you have a 7-day license, give yourself another 10 seconds, and you have a 60-day FME server trial license. And even for permanence, we just give you the license code, you would enter it in, and away you go.
I would just touch on the FlexLM a little bit. That in support, or at least the problems with that, in support we spend a lot of time dealing with firewall concerns and permissions and all sorts of things, and it's one of the least happy parts of the job, so this feature is pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, it's a game changer for sure. Because I can imagine if you're a user who's never tried FME Server, if you don't have a lot of time with the old one, you might, I'm sure some users just gave up.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so lots of problems today. So this problem is basically when I run a data download workspace, if I close my browser or if I type my email address wrong or anything like that, I used to lose the actual output results. So what we've done now in FME Server 2016 is we've put the data download link right in the job history. And so.
Okay.
I'm actually going to show that. Just seeing is believing. So
yeah, absolutely.
we're going to come in here, and I'm going to go to Run Workspace. So this is the old method of coming through and finding which workspace you want it to run. But really, I would want to maybe favorite this workspace if I'm going to use it all the time. Okay. And I can run. Now you can imagine maybe I closed my browser, or I went home or something like that. Yeah. And that's it. It used to be that's it. You couldn't get your zip file. But now, not only can you get to that result faster through here, but you can also get... did I run that with Job Submitter? I probably did. Let me go back and
I think yeah, I think you were a little quick there. So,
I'm quick on the draw.
Yeah.
There we go. So with the Job Submitter, of course, it doesn't zip up the data, but the data download does.
That's right.
So then I'll run that, and again, maybe I go home or something like that, and then I've lost that zip file.
Yeah. Yeah.
But fortunately, it's right on the home page now. I click that, and there we go.
Yeah.
Right there.
So, yeah. This is great. So now, if I have a job, I know I want to run the job and get the data, and it takes hours or even a day to run. I know I can submit it with the data download service. Check periodically when I'm just right from my home screen on my server, and then download that data whenever it's ready. I don't have to. In the old days, it was like, oh no, I shut my browser, and then if you didn't know where it was quite a problem for folks. So this, again, a small thing, but a big thing.
Yeah. And keeping going with this concept, we've not only added it to the web UI, but also it's available from the REST API. And really, everything that we do in the web UI sits on top of the REST API. So if it's possible in the web UI, you'll be able to do it programmatically from REST. And I know that people were building integrations where they wanted to get this zip file afterwards, and it was basically they had to keep the connection open before. Now they can pull for the results, and it's a much better, less brittle experience.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
what's this next challenge we're going to do?
Yeah, this is talking about the OGC web services, specifically WMS and WFS. We had somewhat of a solution for this in the past, but it wasn't able to. We didn't support. What was it? Filters? Don, is that right?
Sorry, go ahead.
We didn't support filters. Is that correct?
That's right. Our previous WMS and WFS were really, they were very simple services that did the bare minimum, bounding box, and that was it. And so then we looked at, well, what we really want to do is give users the power to create their own WMS and WFS systems, and so we took an entirely different approach. Because really, to do it properly, you need an environment in which you can do powerful scripting and things like that. So, as Aaron's showing here, we basically created some services that are completely workspace-driven using our data streaming service. So, so talk a little bit about that, Aaron.
Yeah. So these workspaces allow you to get started right away. You load your data into a database, and then this workspace sits on top of that database and provides WFS and WMS, the filter expressions, things like that. And if you want a new filter expression or some new part of the standard that isn't currently implemented in this workspace, you can add that yourself. So you have the power to build whatever you want now.
Yeah. And I guess these workspaces, you take them, you install them, and you're ready to, with the sample data and everything, you're just ready to go. So you have something that works right away.
That's right. There's a few steps to load your data in the right format and that sort of thing, but pretty quick to get going. Yeah. And these are what I'm showing here is again part of the Knowledge Center. These are 2 articles that have been put together that contain the workspaces and sample data and that sort of thing. And you just go to the Knowledge Center and you grab them and you're off to the races.
One of the #1 things that users have asked for is this ability to see jobs better jobs that are running, they only really want to see their jobs, job filtering, and so for 2016 we've gone part of the way. So we've made it really easy now for users to see their own jobs and not anybody else's jobs. So I'm going to do a little bit of a demo here. So this is just a screen showing how this user, FME Lizard, can only see the completed FME Lizard job, so he doesn't see everybody else's jobs. And this Blue Sky machine we're running at SAFE has been great for this because there's many of us that have this and access to this machine. It runs thousands, some days tens of thousands of jobs, and so it's a good production kind of environment for us to not just hear about some of the challenges of these bigger systems, but also live and then have a machine to understand from our own experience as well what these are like, and then we can also test changes as well. So that's what we have there. So yeah. So what I'm going to do is the other thing is if you're an administrator, you have a busy FME server, you can also start to see who's doing what, because again, the administrator can see click from user to user to see who what users have done jobs. You can show all users, or you can zoom in on different users to see what the number of jobs that each user has done. So from an administration standpoint, it's easier. You can also, and you can see for any job that's run, what user ran that job. So again, first step on helping users with the whole idea of job management and control. So, and there you go. He can filter jobs by users if you're the administrator. Okay, so now I'm going to do a demo. I'm going to go over to Blue Sky here. Okay, and yeah, you can see that. Good. And I'm going to log in first just with your very basic user. Okay. Dawn user. So this is my account that only has user permissions. You can see he has some favorite workspaces. So the first thing he's going to do, he's simply going to run a workspace. But he's going to use this master long. So I made it a favorite so you don't have to watch me hunt. So I'm just going to go like that. I'm going to run the workspace. Okay. Okay. And come on. Run workspace. There we go. And it's a long-running job. So now I'm going to go to manage jobs, and we're going to see that I can see all the jobs that were completed, and you'll understand why those are X's beforehand. I can also see the jobs that are running. Okay, those are all the jobs that were running. I'm going to go back and do that again. I'm going to submit some more jobs. So then you'll see that I also see all my jobs that are queued. So I'm going to go there again, and I'm going to say run. Okay, so now I'm going to go back, manage jobs, and now you will see I also have a bunch of jobs that are queued. I can see all the jobs that are running, but I can only see my jobs that are queued and my jobs that are running. Okay, so there could be some other jobs that are queued, and on this server right now I have every single engine. I've taken every engine, so I expect there are some other jobs that are queued, but as a plain user I can't see that. So to see that, what I need to do is to change users and become the admin user. Okay, so in 2016.0 I am not able to cancel my queued or running jobs, but for 2016.1 Dawn user, in fact, would be able to do that. He would be able to cancel his own jobs. So, so that'll be, and that's going to be out before the World Tour. So there we go. So I'm going to log out here, and now I'm going to log in as I'm a powerful user. Okay. And now I'm going to go look at those job history again. I'm going to go manage jobs, and you're going to see that. In fact, this guy can see all the jobs that are queued, and you can see now I actually see that Stuart actually has a job that's in the queue. So I can cancel all the jobs in the queue if I want, or all the running ones. This is the administrator, so I can go like this. I won't kill Stuart's job. I'm going to be a nice guy. I'm going to simply cancel, and now there's no more jobs in the queue. Just Stuart. Oh, he has 2 jobs there. So I'm also going to click and cancel all my running jobs, all the running jobs for this user Dawn user. Okay, and so there you go. I've removed 8 jobs, and now I go to the completed, and I can see what's going on. Of course, I can filter if I want to see all the jobs Aaron's run. I can go like that, and I see all the jobs that Aaron has run over this period of this webinar, and things like that. So again, you can do that. So that's the job history stuff. Okay, so now we're back over here. So that's that demo, and now it's back over to you, Aaron. So this is going to talk about how can jobs can fail. Can you send me a notification that gives me a clue about what's went wrong?
Yeah. So in the past, people would run a schedule. Scheduling is very popular with FME Server, and if there was a failure, you would receive a notification that something had failed, but it wouldn't indicate the workspace or the repository. And now we not only indicate that, but we also give a link to the log, so that can be sent in an email. Just to save you steps, so you don't have to go to the web UI, start to investigate. This just makes it simpler.
Yeah. So this is an idea of when you set up a notification. Now this is all the data that is there. So yeah. So that's great. So so now we're going to talk a bit more about notification services. Okay.
Yeah, and so this is just if you just pop back to that slide there. This is just to remind people what we're dealing with here. Publications are really the things that send data into FME Server, and subscriptions are the things that send data out from FME Server.
That's right. Yeah. So subscriptions subscribe to an FME Server topic, and publications publish to an FME topic.
Correct.
Yeah. So if you remember the topic at the middle, then that really helps keep it straight. Yeah. That's great. Okay. So what's this mysterious demo I keep hearing about? Okay.
So here is an FTP site here. It happens to be our FTP site that we use and support. And
good old FTP. Heck, I even know when FTP was around. It wasn't, so that gives you an idea of how old it really is.
Yeah, and so I'll throw something in there. Here's some data I'll throw in there, GML and DWG. You can imagine somebody's throwing files into FTP, and we're going to come back to that in a second. So a bit mysterious, but that's what we did. We dropped some files into an FTP site. We're going to talk about something we're really excited about. It's a new thing we've got, and really it relates to how can I trigger a workspace and make it powerful, basically. So in the past, if you wanted a workspace to run when a topic was updated, you could publish and subscribe to that topic. However, you could only do that once per workspace.
Yeah. And you did it during the publishing time as well. So if you had a workspace already up there and you wanted to trigger it, you would have to manually configure our push HTTP post, which we call push subscription, which was pretty awful, really, wasn't it?
I couldn't do it. I had to use the publish.
Yeah, so that's what, and many users, if you can't do it, then you can be sure a lot of other users couldn't do it. So you'd effectively download the workspace just so you could do that and then push it back up. And how would I do it if let's say I wanted that workspace with 4 different subscriptions with just different parameters. What did I have to do then before?
I think you had to rename the workspace each time you published it.
Yeah. That's right. So
And not only that, but you couldn't utilize resources in the past. You couldn't actually set publish parameters, transformation management directives. And not only did we build this powerful workspace subscriber, but you've done some testing as well with this, haven't you?
Yeah, and it's much faster. The old one, because it was HTTP post, the request was going through the complete web stack, and so that meant that we could trigger a new job in about 60 to 80 milliseconds. Now with this workspace subscriber, it takes about 30 milliseconds, so it's over twice as fast, or twice as efficient, depending on how you want to look at it, for triggering these tasks. So it's much lighter, more powerful, and also open because it has the full power of FME. Now, really, we see building brand new subscribers like our FTP subscriber S3 in the future. We will use this approach to build new subscriber technology for different systems. So let's say I wanted to build a subscriber for Twilio that whenever I sent a file in, and whenever a workspace failed, I wanted to make send a text message or make a phone call. Now I could build that in the Workspace subscriber and publish it up as my Twilio subscriber, and people could do it. So, and you're going to show similar ideas soon, I think.
I am, and really speaking to what you said, I want to use a specific web service that doesn't appear to be supported. So Twilio isn't a proper subscriber. It is something we'd have to build in.
Yeah.
And really, it's the combination of the Workspace subscriber and the HTTP caller that have now made it possible to basically use web services and to build new subscribers on top of those.
Yeah. And this is really where you see us, being able to leverage the power of FME and FME's new web services technology to ultimately, for .1, be able to build anything with the Workspace subscriber. For .0, the web services is not there yet, but it is going to be there for .1. So, but anyway, even without the OAuth capabilities, it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, and I'm going to show an example that works without OAuth, and that is box.com. So let me open up the web browser.
And while Aaron's doing that, this again shows what we're doing at SAFE. We're more and more using the power of the FME engine underneath to drive server tasks and getting a big win there. Not only is it less code to develop, we're able to turn these features out quicker, and they're more reliable because there's less code to maintain. On the engine and desktop side, it also pushes new requirements down there to make them more powerful to support what server needs. So it's a win-win everywhere.
Yeah, and I got to make sure I get this correct here.
Using this fancy Gorilla Mail.
Yeah, it's this. If you need to demo something, in the past somebody said, "Well, don't show your email because there were some sensitive things in it." So now I use this here. But what am I actually doing? I'm running a workspace that does a file geodatabase conversion to a geo package, right? That's a nice way to do data, and I'm going to send a link to the results to that email.
At sharklasers.com. Wow.
Yep, it's it's fantastic. So, in theory, I should get an email here. Now it'll check every 2 or 1 second. I don't know how often it does, but here we go. Okay. So, what does it say? It says, "Here's your data fresh from our data farm to your tables. The latest data has been harvested and bundled for your enjoyment. Open the box.com to get your fresh data." And so if I click that, it'll open up, and here's my geo package that I can then download.
Wow, so that was quick. So basically what you did is you showed how to use the Workspace subscriber technology to build a box subscriber. So FME out of the box has FTP, S3, and a few others, but it doesn't have Box.
That's right. There is no Box for sure.
So now with this, you can use Box. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll show the existing subscriber options in here. Here they are right here. And yep, there's no Box. So how did I actually do this? I bet you're asking that, aren't you, Don?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to show how this whole thing works now. So I'll start with this workspace here. That's the one that we ran. That does the conversion. And I think it might be open already. There we go. Okay, and so it reads the file geodatabase, it writes out the geo package, and then what it does is it sends along a bit of information including it leverages this new parameter. So this is a new parameter type for FME servers that we didn't have previously, which will include the email address that we enter up there. So we can grab the email address and we can pass that on to a topic. So we're sending along not only the location of the source data that we're going to read, and we're also sending along an email. So let me publish this up.
Okay.
Right. And it's querying. There we go. Okay, so up we go. And so with the job submitter here, we're saying, okay, when this finishes, let this topic know about the email and the location of the source data to upload. Okay, so we publish that up. That will let a topic know. So we're going to jump up to here, manage notifications. And of course, then we're going to subscribe. Guess which subscriber we're going to use here, Don?
We're going to use Workspace.
That's right, that's right. So if I type box, I can see Aaron.box subscription, subscribe to that topic. If I come in here, you'll see a few different options here in this workspace. First of all, we're gonna run a workspace called boxsubscriber.fmw, and I'll show you that workspace in a second. Now, as part of using box.com, there's a developer token that you have to provide, and one of the things you pointed out, Don, was it's in clear text here, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. We can make this a password type, which is then
right, and then it would just show up as stars.
Exactly. Here we got a folder ID, so which folder do we want to actually write into in box.com, and there are different types of permissions with box.com that we can have, which is open or for the company or for collaborators.
Yeah.
And then because you may want to write up a number of files that would collide otherwise, there's an option here I've added into the workspace that allows you to create a unique directory up there. Okay, so now let's take a look at that actual workspace. So now this workspace is run. That's the next step, is this one is run. And I would have just published this up and not said any kind of registered it or done anything special. I just publish it up and then I subscribe it later, which is what we just saw. And so yeah, it deals with the topic message. It takes in a number of things. It reads in the email to. Here it does, and so here's the key thing of this whole thing is there's a custom transformer called a box folder creator. So if I go into that, there's the HTTP caller.
Right.
If we go in there, it's using the API to create a folder, and then we continue on. We upload a file to that folder, and then you have to also share the file, which is what those options were before in the publish parameters. See the publish parameters right here. So there you go. So a few custom transformers that again are using the HTTP caller to work with the web services, and then you just, like I said, you just publish this up and subscribe it to a topic.
Yeah. And there you go. You've created a new subscriber using the building blocks that are within FME, rather than having to. In the past, we would have to write this by hand. And yeah, so now we're going to be, we're going to see more and more of these being created by ourselves at a more rapid pace, but also third parties now, our users can start to create these as well, which is we're really excited about. Yeah,
it's very similar to the OGC WMS, WFS, where we realized that building them ourselves is not the way to do it. Rather, we need to allow people to build them via a workspace, basically.
Yeah. No,
okay,
that's great.
So just a little preview of what's possible. And as you said, in .1 we'll have OAuth support, which means that all the different web services which require OAuth will then be opened up, and we can build anything we want pretty much.
Yeah. Really, OAuth is the keys to the web service kingdom, and we're so close. So yeah.
You know, one thing we didn't talk about actually, and I just want to highlight it here, is in the future we'll have database connections and also web service connections.
Yeah.
But even right now, we didn't highlight this. You can publish up your database connections with 2016.0.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing to be aware of.
Yeah, that's right, and that's new for FME Server for sure. Yeah. Great.
Okay, so we'll keep going here.
Yeah, you're still in control. Yeah.
Yep, still in control. Like we were talking about FTP, an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, and people still use it. It's still the preferred way to move files around for many organizations, and so with this release we've added Secure FTP. So there's many different variants of Secure FTP, and we've done our best to support the ones that customers have asked for. So give it a try, and if yet there's another form of Secure FTP that we don't support, please do let us know. And you can see the other subscribers that we support there. You know, Amazon S3, SNS, and SQS. And internally within SAFE, any flows we build now that have anything to do with web services, we're really like we use S3, SNS, and SQS a lot. So, in fact, the entire licensing back end that we show when you're licensing FME Server is built on top of, it's built with FME Cloud, so there's an FME Cloud instance in the background running as the licensed server, and it in fact is leveraging S3, SNS, and SQS very heavily to provide a really stable, scalable licensing server. So yeah, so we're definitely eating our own dog food when it comes to all that stuff. Yeah.
Very cool. So that's a new subscriber. We also, so here's a problem that's going to tie into the mysterious demo. People put things on the FTP site and then no one tells me. Okay, I'm supposed to look, but sometimes I forget. Okay, I don't like to look, and then the reality is I actually never look. So how can we help people out with this? Well, there's an FTP watch publisher which will watch an FTP directory, and when there's a new file there, notify a topic, and then from there, let's see what that mysterious demo was.
Yeah. So earlier in part of your mysterious dragged and dropped a file on the FTP, did you?
I did, yeah. Remember, it was the traffic signals and the firehose.
Right. And the firehose, and look at that.
Yep.
Yeah.
This tool is called Slack. It's basically a collaboration tool. You could think of it as being email, but it's a lot different than email. But we could notify you via email, SMS, or what we chose to do in this demo is send a message to Slack saying, hey, there's a new FTP file here, so you can go and get that file if you want to.
And it was FME Server that we're using extensively within SAFE to also interface with our internal systems with Slack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We were able to again, it's the HTTP caller and the FME Server put together is a match made in heaven.
Great.
Okay, so keeping going with notification service, I create publications and subscriptions, and there's nothing more infuriating than entering a value that's invalid but not knowing about it until much later.
Yeah, a huge time waster, and we've all been there, where we type in, we set something up, it doesn't work, and then we spend sometimes considerable amount of time only to discover that we mistyped a character. So very infuriating. Yeah. Especially when you have password, things you're entering where you can't actually see what you're typing. So yeah. Exactly.
And so now we've added to each of the publications and the subscriptions this verification. And as I put in here, I put the host name. This probably won't work, and in fact, it's not valid. Same thing if we put the wrong password and that sort of thing, we would get a different message showing there's a problem.
No, absolutely. And it's all about us making it easy for you to set stuff up with FME Server step by step and knowing as you're building your workflow through FME Server, that making it easier to pinpoint where exactly the problem is. So let's say I've set up a subscriber successfully in FME 2016. That first validation step would in fact tell me that, hey, you in fact did set up your email configuration correctly, which is great. So what's the next step?
So that once you've got it set up, then you want to test it. You want to say, hey, if I send it an email or something, what's going to happen?
Yeah, yeah. And in the past, what I would do is I would have to write a workspace that would pass stuff to the topic, and then run that workspace. And if I never got email out, then I had 3 places to look. I had to look at my workspace, making sure I passed things in correctly. I had to look at the linkage to my topic, and also I had to look at the actual subscriber I set up. So now you've reduced the problem with the subscriber, so I at least know my subscriber set up properly. So what about the connection with the subscriber to the topic?
Yeah, and so with this one, I actually used this new functionality quite a bit when building the box subscriber, sending it the file that it should upload, because by default there's a default set file to upload, but I wanted to choose some different ones, and so this was a huge time saver to be able to override the different parameters here.
Yeah. So now you can test it without having a workspace, and then for your workspace you can just copy that JSON data and the data to send, put it in your workspace, and it will just work, and then you'll know that you have the full flow going, and then you can start building from there. So yeah, so that's a huge time saver. I know that was very frustrating for our users when building these workflows. We'd quite often hear, oh, the email doesn't work, and then you had to check these 3 different things.
Yeah, but you couldn't tell if the host name or something was wrong, and then you couldn't very easily test your own custom settings. So some big steps forward here in 2016.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, and so here's a good one. I don't want to worry about cleaning up my temporary data. And I definitely don't want to.
No, and users sometimes just don't bother. So now we made it easy.
Exactly. Yeah. We put all of the temporary data that comes from different subscriptions, comes from topics, data that you upload through the web UI. We put it all into a new resource called System, and then we set cleanup tasks on that that will delete those files after a certain period.
That's great.
Okay, I'm gonna pass it back over to you, Don.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about FME Cloud.
Yes. I'm just waiting to see the. Okay, show my screen, and I'll go back up here. Okay. So we're going to talk about FME Cloud now, and again, some quick things on FME Cloud. FME Cloud is FME Server in a hosted environment for those folks who don't know. So it enables you to get your own FME server running in about 5 minutes. No hardware needed, just nothing to install, no licensing. As good as our licensing is, now you just basically click and go. And yes, FME Cloud is using the new licensing technology as well. So a number of problems. We have that free evaluation of $250, and one of the problems was users were worried about a credit card bill during my FME Cloud evaluation. What used to happen is we would tell users, we'd give them $250, and then we would send them emails reminding them that, hey, you're getting low, you're getting low, you're getting low. If you don't stop, we're going to start to charge your card. As we all know, we all miss email from time to time, or email is almost in some days reads more of a curse than a help, and so we would get users with credit card bills, and that is not what we want. We do not want unhappy users. So we looked at that problem, and so what we do now is we still send you notifications, but we pause all the running instances so that you do not get charged. So you're going to now have to take an extra step in order to authorize us to put it on your credit card. So So that's an important change for our users, because sometimes a user would fire up a machine, they would play around with it for a week or two, and then they would leave it running and they wouldn't come back, and then they would get a bill, and we didn't like that. Users didn't like that. So now you no longer have to worry about that. So that's quite a significant change. Okay. So the next one is, and this was again came from users. I want to save money by running an FME Cloud instance for only a few hours a week. And so with FME Cloud, of course, you could do it. You could manually create an instance. Then you could pause it, and then you could resume it, pause it, resume it, pause it, whenever you wanted. But it was a manual process. And so again, we looked at this and we said, how can we save our users money by making it easier? So now we've introduced this whole notion of FME Cloud schedule. So I'm going to show you how those work and that sort of thing. So okay, so we're going to go over here to, here I'm in the FME Cloud Management Console. And oh, look at that, I have this machine nicely called FME 2016 that is running. Okay, and I'm going to look at the schedules. And so there's a schedule I have here, and it starts this FME 2016 server. You can look at it here. Okay, I can edit it, and you'll see that it starts every day, Monday, Tuesdays, and Friday. Starts at 8:30 and stops at 9:25. So at 8:30 it comes up. I could run some jobs, and at 9:25 it goes down. And I would only be charged an hour a day for that. So this is a starter instance, so it's going to cost me about 90 cents a day to do that. So, so this is great. Many users have machines they want to start at, say, 7 a.m. and stop at 6 p.m. Only during work hours, and so they can do that. Creating a new one is very simple. You simply create a new schedule. You pick the machine you want to start it on, and away you would go. You can decide whether you want to do it daily or weekly, and that sort of thing. So also there's a history, so I can click on the history of these schedules, and you can see that at 8:30 today my FME 2016 instance started, and you can see each day when it start and pause. So again, why did we do this? We did this purely to help users be more cost efficient with FME Cloud, and we all know we're all busy and we forget things, and so we decided to do that. So we're pretty excited about that with FME Cloud. So yeah, so two ways there we've two ways we've helped you save money with FME Cloud. One is if you're evaluating it, we no longer are going to charge put anything against your credit card until you take additional action by restarting those instances or giving us permission to continue. And the second way is with these schedules now to start and stop automatically. So again, you do not have to remember to do that. So we're pretty excited about that. And again, keep the requests coming. Okay, so another problem is users don't know when one of their FME Cloud instances runs into problems. Maybe you have an FME instance that you've launched, and you're not sitting there watching it all the time, and the services that it's provided are getting more and more popular, and so the load on the server is coming up. And so now what you are able to do, or soon will be able to do, we've been running it internally for testing, is you can set alerts on CPU usage, memory usage, and disk usage, and you can get emails via notifications or via page due to your Slack or web triggers when a certain threshold is reached. And again, so then you know when your instance is running into problems, so that you can adjust. You can also set alarms, so you can make it bigger. You can also set alarms when the load gets too low. So maybe you scale up a big FME Cloud instance, you have a whole bunch of jobs to run, and you want to be notified when the CPU falls below a certain threshold, because then you know this massive amount of work that you're doing is complete, and at that point you want to turn off your instance. So you again could do set up an FME Cloud alert for that, and then you could scale your instance down or stop it or whatever you would like to do to do that. So we're pretty excited about this. Again, it's about helping users run their FME Cloud stack more efficiently. Currently, we know when your machine is running into trouble, and we'll take action to try to help you or notify you, but it's much better if we move that control into our users' hands and let them be able to be more proactive in managing their FME server instances that are running in the cloud. So again, a small thing, but a big thing that we're pretty excited about with FME Cloud. Yeah. So yeah, so look at that, Aaron. I think we're like bang on time. 1 minute to go, and we're done.
Yep.
So yeah. So any closing words before we start talking about our world tour?
I would. The thing I wanted to throw out there was that FME Server 2016 is live to download now. So go ahead and jump up there and get that right away for sure.
Yeah, no, and there's lots of good things coming in FME Server as well. So we mentioned we've taken the first step in the job history. Not to let too many cats out of the bag, but we're going to have Elasticsearch in FME as an FME component for .1, and that's going to, and then ultimately that is going to be the back end for all our job history and logging in FME Server, and so that with tools like Cabana are going to make our whole dashboard reporting and being able to really introspect what's going on with FME Server, take it to the next level. So we're pretty excited.
Yeah,
about that.
Searching and filtering jobs is quite important for sure.
Yeah, and as you've mentioned to me many times, it's one of the #1 things that users want, to be able to see how busy their servers are and that sort of thing. So with that, we have the FME World Tour coming up in April. It starts in April 6th, and we have 4 teams going around North America, and I believe you're on one of the teams, Aaron?
I'm actually not this year.
You're not?
I know it's a strange one. I'm being shipped down under. And,
okay, so you're going to Australia, are you?
Yeah, I'm going to Australia, and then over to India for the first time.
Yeah, I knew you were doing a bunch. So you're doing Australia, India. You going to New Zealand as well?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a tough one. New Zealand and Australia and India, man. That's I feel for you, man.
Yeah. But it should be a lot of fun. It always is, the World Tour. So.
Yeah, it is. And we really encourage all of you to sign up. I'm doing Boston, Washington, Toronto, Ottawa, and Winnipeg. Aaron's doing some overseas. Dale's leading a group, and they're doing, of course, Calgary, Edmonton, I think Denver, and one other. And we have 4 teams again this year in North America, and we're branching on it around the world. So it starts April 6th and finishes in June 28th. Dale and I are at FME Days in June with our good partners, Conterra, in Essen, and so we're looking forward to that. And yeah, so I guess we'll take some time for we also have a worldwide conference coming up in 2017. It's looking like it's going to be in May in Vancouver, so put that on your calendars. And,
wow.
So yeah. So shall we look at a few questions here?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. So let's see here. So can you fire those up and let's.
Yeah, I'm just opening up, and let's see what we got here.
Okay. So yeah, so while Aaron's looking at the questions, yeah, so thanks everybody for attending this today. The FME Server 2016.0 is now available for download, along with a new desktop release. So if you're grabbing the server, we encourage you to grab the new desktop, and if you grabbed the desktop before, hey, we encourage you to grab the new desktop as well. Latest and greatest, a few important fixes in there, and yeah. So what do you see on the questions, Aaron?
A few people asking about how the subscribers work with Dropbox and things like that, and again in .1 you'll be able to create your own subscriber using whichever web service you want to
Yeah.
So that's how that will
Yeah.
work.
So a big one that we have working internally here, waiting for the web service stuff, is Dropbox. So, and so then there's other ones that you would be able to use Google Drive. You'd be able to use, Microsoft's OneDrive. You'd be able to use lots of different targets for your data. So we're pretty excited about that. Indeed, one of the strengths of once the web service stuff is out is FME's ability to connect web services together in an intelligent manner. And we're using that internally to tie our Bugzilla to our Slack to Salesforce to many of our internal systems, and so it works great. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody asking, is there an app version of FME Server for iPhone? And there isn't really an app for it, but the pages are responsive. The web UI pages, so they will look good on mobile. And we've spent some time on the job history page, which seemed to be one of the most important pages for mobile to make that stacked rather than tabbed. So it should work well.
Yeah, we've switched to an Angular framework, so not everything's Angular at this point, but it's getting there very, very quickly, and so it has a much better mobile, whether it be the phone or tablet experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and does this mean FlexLM is no more in 2016? And I think the answer is you can still use it if you want, but
yeah,
boy, I'd be.
That's right. For server, our official answer is no more FlexLM. For desktop floating, of course, you still need FlexLM for the floating licenses, but yeah. So we don't see any reason why people would use FlexLM, and if there is a good reason, we want to know so that we can discuss that and figure out how to meet your needs. Yeah.
Yeah. Will we need 2 license servers now, one for FME Server and one for FME Desktop? And the answer is not really, because Server just has that.
Yeah, Server does not have a licensed server at all. The engines have to talk to the FME Server core, and it's the FME Server core that knows how many engines. So there is no longer a licensed server at all for FME Server. So you would continue to run your FlexLM server for your desktop. Yeah.
Yeah. Does the WMS WFS require one running engine all the time?
No.
And the answer there is no.
The answer is no.
Yeah. Is WMTS supported? And I think the answer there really is you can add support for it. That's really the value of this new workspace-driven approach. We don't have an example of that to start with, but you could add that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And internally, in fact, we called this project WXS, and where the X was, fill in the blanks. So you could do WMS, WMTS, WCS. Any web service really could be faked out with this technique. And in fact, Aaron's built this fake out random REST services as well. So yeah.
Is 2016.0.1 going to be available from FME Cloud?
Yes, it in fact will be available from FME Cloud today. Yeah, if it's not up there now, it's ready to go. So yeah.
So you'll probably be upgrading your the Blue Sky instance there.
Blue Sky will be is running one build behind, I believe, so it will be upgraded today. So that's another great thing about Blue Sky is it enables us to test the whole migration process on a regular basis. So yeah. Good. Yeah. So we encourage you to test FME Cloud, and remember now you don't have to worry about your credit card being used for anything other than just authorizing that you, in fact, are a legit person, and we will not charge it unless you take further steps. So, again, we want to remove that worry people had. And we at SAFE do not actually store the credit card. We use a third-party provider, Braintree. So SAFE in no way even has the credit card information. So people are worried about that as well. Good.
Yeah. Somebody asking if FME Server can work with Active Directory, and absolutely it can.
Yes, and we've for 2016, it's improved. We continue to work on that. So again, Active Directory, there's more plans to make it even better, have better GUIs and all that. So if you have requirements or can give us feedback on Active Directory, we would love to get that.
Definitely.
Good. Okay.
I think that's probably good.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, Aaron. Now you can go back to bed and work to get healthy again. So I appreciate you you getting up. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thanks to all our users out there. Thanks for tuning in, and please do embrace the community. Please let us know how we can be better. Your thoughts on FME 2016, what you would like us to do to make the product better. If you go to our webpage, www.safe.com, you're going to see in the bottom right-hand corner live chat. So we're always on hand there, and when you see that. Please do engage us. We're always happy to hear from you, and do our best to answer your questions as quickly and as accurately as we can. Yeah. Okay. So thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.